Hi, it's Glenn McQueenie, and welcome to another edition of my 25-minute Success Series podcast. Today, we're pretty excited because we have Andrew Reid from Advisors Realty Brokerage in Toronto. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm feeling great, Glenn.
Good.
What about you? What about
Oh,
yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for taking time to join me on this podcast. Really excited to explore and see where this is going to go today. So, before I start, can you just maybe just give us a quick minute or 2 minute summary of how long you've been in the business, where you are now, and then where you'd like to go, and then we'll just go on a great exploration together.
All right, that sounds good. Glenn, I've been selling real estate for approximately 13 years now. Uh, just a little bit about my journey is I started off, and it was a tremendous struggle. I was so close to walking away from the business, but about year three, things started to turn around for me, and I started doing a couple of transactions every year, enough to take care of myself. And what has happened over the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years is I've kind of plateaued. I do approximately I would say between 20 and 30 deals a year, and I'm stuck there. It's pretty much a solo operation that I run. I do everything myself, so I know that I'm going to have to implement some systems to grow and to get those numbers up to what I ideally like is about 50 to 60 transactions a year. I feel very comfortable there. So that's kind of a little bit of a rundown on me.
Well, that's really interesting. It's not unusual too for a lot of people coming into this business to almost, take a couple of years to really get going, right? Because a lot of the real estate training courses that we have to do here it's more like, cover your broker's ass and don't go to jail, and has really nothing to do about building a sales team or a sales business or knowing how to lead generate or even get along with people. Hopefully they'll change that sometime in the future. But you're a survivor. You've been doing this for 13 years, and, doing your production level is pretty good right now. I mean, that puts you probably in the top 3% or 4% of the Toronto Real Estate Board, which is pretty admirable because there's 49,000 people competing to get really 110,000 sales or maybe 220,000 transactions. So what we're finding, and I think this is really kind of come about in the last couple of years, is there's like this segmentation happening in the market where a lot of the big teams are getting their unfair share of the business. Have you noticed that in the area that you work?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's actually something that I've been talking to my wife about. She sells real estate as well. Well, she used to. More of a part-time thing for her right now. But we've noticed that teams have gone from, I think it was about 10% of the transactions up to about 50 or 60%, if I'm not mistaken. I might be off with my numbers, but I know that they are growing massively.
Yeah, and it's becoming a big deal because then on the other end, you have so many agents coming into the business now. Like I swear, every party I'm at, people are, when I hear someone switching careers, it's like they're either going into dog walking, personal training, yoga, or real estate. There's only four things they seem to ever want to get into right now. And so a lot of agents, well, here's the stats. They're losing 19% of their client base every year because one of their favorite clients or good clients or past clients, brother's daughter's boyfriend or brother's wife or some family member has just got their real estate license, and now they feel an obligation to kind of keep it in the family. Have you experienced that?
You know what? I'm lucky in that way. There's been very few that have gone in that direction. I've heard some of them speak about doing it, but then they never really followed through with getting their license. So I do get quite a bit of repeat and referral business in my pipeline. I just need to. I know that I can utilize it better.
Good. Well, that's the thing. It's funny, when people used to say, should I get into real estate? I'd be like, oh, yeah. Now I'm like, no. It's really tough. It's really difficult. You should never go there. That's ridiculous. Okay, so you're doing pretty good business right now. It's mostly repeat and referral, and you want to get up to about 50 or 60 deals. So what is your plan to do that? I just want to see where, or really, I mean, most of your, okay, who's your kind of perfect client right now, I guess, would be a better question.
You know what? My perfect client is uh, someone who, say, a first time home buyer who has their down payment saved up, or um, someone who already has owned a piece of real estate for the last 5 or 10 years, you could say, and they're ready to upsize. And for the first time buyer ready to move into their first home, actually, I'm going to be showing a property to a um, past client. Unfortunately, she ended up separating with her husband, but so it's kind of like she's in the market for the first time, so she's starting all over again. I'll be showing a property soon to her. So, you know what? That is typically the client that I work with is someone who is at the entry level of the market, or someone who is selling their first home and buying their second home.
Right. Okay. And what part of the city are they, where are they now, and where do they usually move to, or do they stay within the same neighborhood?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, Glenn, because when I first started selling real estate, most of my transactions happened in within Toronto, and every year I'm being pushed further and further out east. So,
Right.
I started in Toronto, and then most of my transactions happened in Pickering and Ajax. Then all of a sudden it was Whitby, and then all of a sudden it was Oshawa, and now it's Bowmanville, Clarington. So most of my business is happening in Durham, and most of my clients are coming from Durham, the east end of Scarborough as well.
Okay. So for those people listening who don't really know what we're talking about, it's most of his clients were really close to him before, and then it was 5 or 10 miles away, and then or 20 kilometers, and then he's now Clarington is probably 60 kilometers away, like 25, 30 miles away from Toronto at least.
I would say that prices force people out further east, right? So that's what's going
Totally.
on.
Okay.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this question because you've got a couple of niches, and the whole idea, like in my book, I'm really talking about people is just bring your natural strengths of who you are. Don't try to be like every other agent. Just be you, because everyone else is already taken. But there is and bring it to a target market of almost like your perfect transaction, right?
yeah.
And you've got looks like you got two primary niches right now. One is helping first people buy, and then the other people moving up. So let's just talk about the move up for a second, then we'll go back to the buyer. But the move up, how much are they selling their house for, and then how much are they buying for typically?
I would say they are selling their house for between 550 and 650 is typical these days for a starter home, and then they are buying between 7 and 800,000, somewhere in that range.
Right. So it's pretty typical, right? On a move up, most people upgrade about 50 to 60%, right? Anywhere from 40 to 60.
Yeah,
And then their next move up as they get into their later 40s is going to be up to luxury if things are going really, really well. And then they'll probably upgrade like 100%. That's what my experience has been.
okay.
So every time you do that one move, you move them from here to there, you're about 1.4 million in gross sales volume. Would that be accurate?
Yes, yes, that's
Okay.
accurate.
Right. So it's probably about $35,000 in gross commission out there.
Yeah, roughly. I would say roughly. Yeah, you're pretty well bang on.
Right. So if you want to do 50 to 60 transactions, we really just have to find 25 or 30 people, right?
Yeah,
Which is two per month, right?
you got
Are
it.
you following along? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So once you start realizing how few people you actually need, it's really easy to design a lead generation program around it. And what I've learned is that people will, what you focus on expands, and people grow into the conversations that you're having with them. So what I'd really say to you, so when someone says to you, "Hey, Andrew," or you meet someone for the first time at a party or something, and inevitably someone goes, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" What do you say?
I tell them that I sell real estate for a living.
Okay. Okay. So are you open to some coaching? We're just going to change your languaging just slightly on that.
Absolutely, 100%
Great.
I'm open to.
Good. What so if we're our target is helping people move up from one home to another home, then the more conversations we start telling people that we've just met or people we already know that we just helped a family move from one home to another home, and they were able to get more money than they thought they were going to get for their house, and they were able to buy the move up home cheaper than they thought they were going to do,
Yeah.
and now they live happily ever after because they've got the right school district for the kids, or they've got the right it's next to the go station, or it's they got the perfect backyard for a swimming pool. You know, all those great, we call them winning formula stories in real estate.
Yeah.
The more you just auto default to saying this, and I want you to kind of practice this over the next little while, you'll start watching that that's only the type of referrals you're going to get. And I'm
Okay.
not saying blow up your business right now and just do this. I'm just saying keep doing what you're doing in your business 80% of the time. But
Yeah.
20% of your time, let's start focusing really closely on this because if that's a good um, compensation level for selling two houses. And if we did that twice a month, you know, you start getting over close to six or seven or $800,000 a year, right? Which will give you more money to, you know, pay down your debts, build your wealth, and get more freedom of like time, money, relationships, and purpose. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's exactly where I want to go.
Perfect. So then what you do, so next time you're at a party and someone says, oh, you know, and it comes up, hey, what do you do for your living? I would just say this, oh, I'm in real estate and I really focus on helping young families move up to really their dream homes. I just recently helped this young couple because they had two young kids under 5 and they wanted to move to like the perfect school district because, you know, that's what parents think about when their kids are that young. And we were able to get them this amazing 4-bedroom house with like a massive backyard and a pool, like steps to the school they always wanted to go to, for way less than they thought they were going to get. And then it was just worked out so perfect because then we sold their house on the back end for way more than they thought. So with that difference that now they don't have to spend, they were able to do all the kind of renovations and improvements that they wanted to do to this home now instead of like having to save up 5 or 10 years from now.
Yeah. That Len, that that is a very compelling story that you just told someone. I can definitely see how I need to change my language because I know that is uh, that's going to have people asking questions and wanting to do business with me.
That's right. And then the great thing is you tag on the referral request, right? And the referral request happens at the very end where you go, you know, and so I just found another house like that, but I don't have anyone else who's moving up into Clarington right now. Who do you know who's thinking about moving in Clarington? So it's very specific request, and the more that you do this, and I learned this from a guy named Joe Stump a long time ago. Like the more specific your referral request is, the more chance you have of actually, getting it. It's if I was to say to you, who's a great friend of yours who has 3 kids, that name would pop right into your brain
Oh, for sure.
at a much
Yeah.
deeper level than if it was, who do you know who's thinking about buying or selling? It's just so weak. And the final part is just that people learn by stories and metaphors all the time. And because that's how we were raised, like with nursery rhymes or all those things. So the more, people love a good story. Don't you love to be at a party or sit around and hear someone tell a really good story?
Oh man, come on, man. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's right.
That's the way the story gets branded into your mind, right? You'll never forget it.
That's right. And so what you do is you're just kind of like they just open the door to let you tell them what you do, but you're very specific on what you do. And you can change the script depending on who you're talking to. If it's a first-time buyer and they go, oh, you think they're young enough, they don't have a home or whatever, and they're like, what do? You go, oh, I'm in real estate. I just helped someone who had been renting for 5 years buy their first home, and honestly, they never thought they were going to be able to afford it, but we were able to get such a good deal because the market's shifted right now. And get way less than they want while the interest rates are really low right now. And finally, they're out of that rental condo, so they don't have to schlep their groceries up the stairs anymore and do all that crap. I'm going over there for a barbecue next week. Like, these are the winning formula stories that
Yeah,
people love to hear about.
yeah. I can definitely see that. I'm going to work on that this weekend, creating a nice
Right.
story. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Now, here's the second step. So, I want you to go through your database right now and look at everyone who's been in their first time home for 2 years or 3 years. Because
Mhm.
we're finding most people actually move between year 3 and 5 now on their first
Oh,
home,
yeah.
right? Like, I would argue that 80% of first time buyers move in 5 years. Has that been your experience?
Honestly, you're bang on with it. It's I've had clients that have moved with me 3 or 4 times already.
That's right.
It's nuts. It's every 3, 4, actually 4 years seems to be that magic number. They call you, and because the mortgage is going to be up next year, and they're like,
Right.
"Yeah, I'm ready to do something." Right? So,
Right. But what's changed now that I found is that more people, are going online and starting their search a lot earlier right now. And it's just like, oh, just looking, just looking, just looking. But that's why I want you to contact them around year 3 because, we've all had that situation where all of a sudden one of your good clients just end up, you get the phone call. It's like, oh, we just bought a house. And you're like, oh my God, that's so great. I'm so excited for you. And then they go on to tell you how great their house is, and oh, by the way, they had to list it with the person they bought the house of because they got such a good deal on it, and they give them a break on the commission, right? So, so has that happened to you before, Andrew?
you know what? I'm very grateful I haven't had to deal with that call. Just maybe I would say a handful of times that's happened in my life, and
Right.
I learned from it quickly.
Yeah, and and it's okay because they don't owe you anything. It's our responsibility to keep in touch with them, right? When they poll buyers and sellers, 80% of them said they'd use their agent again, yet only 22% do, and most of it's because we drop the ball. So I'm not blaming anybody, but if you think about it, if you go through your list over the weekend, over the next week, and look at everyone who's been sitting in their house for 2 or 3 years right now, I want you to call them and just ask them two questions, okay? You don't
Okay.
even have to write these down. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to remember them, okay? The first one is, how are you? Right. And the second is, how's your home?
Yeah.
And what those two, and don't talk about real estate, they'll bring it up. That's what you have in common. They're going to bring it up. Don't ask them for referrals. Don't violate it. All you're doing is it's called the two-question referral call. And our record right now, I think, is one of our people we were coaching called 39 past clients and got 14 referrals from it. Because here's the beauty of it. Well, I think you should be doing that every year with your clients, just as a check-in call. Hey, I was just drove by your house. I was just thinking about you. How are you? How you doing? And how's your home? You know, and they'll tell you, oh, we love it. Oh, it's fantastic, or this, or or the bathroom broke, or whatever. I mean, if my client said, oh, we're having a problem with our downstairs bathroom, I personally I'd just send a plumber over. It would be on my dime just to fix it and wow them. But what you're going to find is you're going to catch them earlier, so they don't fall out and just walk into an open house, and go, "Oh my God, I bought the place!" Right? Number two is their age group. They're about to move up, which means all of their friends are about to move up too.
Yeah.
So when they're out on the weekend, uh, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, well we're thinking about moving up." Oh well, I just talked to Andrew yesterday, and guess what? Your phone number is on the top of their cell phone. It's so easy for them to pull out their phone and just give them that number. It's much easier than, because they'll be in the conversation 6 months from now and they'll forget about you because, they're thinking about kitchens or renovations or something. And someone goes, oh, we're just thinking about moving up. And they go, oh, that's great. Where are you moving to? And that's the difference.
Yeah. I
Makes
can see
sense.
it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can.
And then the third thing I would suggest you do is start doing a video CMA for all of your past clients every year. It's such a cool tool. So I kind of got this idea from I was with a financial planner, and I would never really hear from him, right? And I was thinking, I'm pretty sure he's checking my stuff, right? But I don't. He
Yeah.
doesn't really call and go, "Hey, Glenn, I've been checking your stuff." But I thought, what if he videotaped himself looking at my portfolio on his computer screen, and said, "Hey, Glenn, it's Jim. How you doing? Listen, I'm just looking at your portfolio right now. I think things are pretty well. I don't think we have to move money anywhere. I think we're all in the right place. But I just thought you'd want to know. Talk to you soon. Bye." And
Yeah.
sent me that video. What would you feel if that happened to you?
You know what? I definitely feel like this guy has my best interest at heart, and he's looking out for me.
Right. So that's what you do. So what you do is you grab your phone, you're on Toronto MLS, you pull up their street or their neighborhood, and you can just go through your client list, do 5 a day or whatever. It doesn't take long. It takes like 30 seconds. And you're just like, hey, Joe, listen, it's Andrew. How are you, buddy? Listen, I'm just looking in your neighborhood right now because I was showing homes there the other day and looking at some of the recent sale prices. And man, you've done really, really well. You got to bring all your personality into this, Andrew. You've done really well. It looks like your price is up about $80,000 from when you bought a couple of years ago. Just thought you'd want to know that. Talk to you soon. See you later. Bye. Boom. Don't
That's
ask
really
them if
good.
they're thinking about moving. Nothing. Just you're just coming from contribution, saying I'm thinking about you, I care about you, and you matter.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've actually I've done that occasionally, but I haven't done it in a system. So I've done it before with clients. Say you've worked with them and a year has gone by, a year and a half, and you know prices are up in their area quite a bit. I'd call them or I'd send them a text or I'd send them the listing of a property that sold that was similar to what they bought, and they'd always be excited. They're like, "Oh my God, that's great news, Andrew. Thank you for passing it along to me." So I can see why you recommend it, and it is something I just need to create a system for so that I do it more often.
Yeah, it's just here's your system. Set a reminder in your calendar at 9 o'clock that says send 5 video CMAs today. That's your system. It's so simple to do, right? And you'll just find you do it. And then here's the last thing I'll tell you to do, or if you see if you're open to this, is the it's cheaper for your clients to move up today than it was in March. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, that is absolutely 100% true. Yes.
So what's the difference in the dollar value of your typical client moving up now compared to moving up in March?
Oh, I would say that at least they'd be saving 5% on the buying end. There's so much inventory out there right now that I know that for sure they have a pick of what it is that they want, and they're not going to have to be fighting anyone to get it.
Right. And what about their house? Has their house gone down much or not?
My typical client, no. We've been fortunate. A lot of the homes that my clients have bought recently, somehow we avoided big bidding wars, and they didn't have to get too crazy with going over the asking price. So they're in pretty good shape.
Right. See, the beautiful thing is if you look at some of the sales that occurred at the end of March in the 905, which is for those people listening, the phone district just outside of Toronto, um, those prices went up almost 30% from January to the end of March, and now they're back down.
Yeah,
Um, there are so many listings sitting out there right now, but the great thing is their backup property hasn't gone down that much. And I think that compared to what their friend bought 3 months ago, they could save 20 or 30% on that purchase. And more importantly, if they could get a mortgage now when rates are low, like, they're 2.7% right now, or maybe 2.95 with the reason, like, there's never been a better time to move. And I always find it crazy that when the market's roaring and prices are going up really quick, all the buyers line up to buy. And now when we have this market where it's kind of paused a little bit, that they all go, "Oh no, I'm not going to do it." And they don't realize they're not actually they are paying the price, but they're really buying a cash flow, a monthly cash flow. You know,
yeah,
at the end of the day, they're going to save $200,000 or $300,000 on what they would have a couple of months ago. So that saves them about $800 or $1,200 a month in mortgage payments, and they're going to be able to move up for smaller than they ever have at the cheapest interest rate they've ever had. And if you were to do a special report and send it out to your clients, or start telling the story when you're at parties, and just start saying, you know what, it's the best time I've ever seen for somebody to move up right now. you sent an email just saying, and just give examples, right? The exact same thing that I'm talking about, where it's like, listen, your house was worth 800 or 650 in the peak. Now it's 600, but the place you
Yeah.
wanted to buy was 1-1, and now it's 820,
There you go.
and
Good.
it's only 220 to move up. It's $800 a month, and now you can have the house you always wanted. And you're going to save over $800 a month on a monthly cash flow, and that means you will save probably $110,000 in interest costs over the amortization of that mortgage.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't
That's
that fun?
no, that's when you put it like that, so detailed and the exact dollar value that they're saving, that is, that's something that I need to get better at.
Yeah. People love facts and evidence because you have to remember everyone shows up with a closed mind. So it takes a little while to get that mind to open, but most people are like closed-minded when they show up. And when they meet you at a party and say, I'm in real estate, their closed mind goes, oh my God. They're not saying, oh my God, I can't believe I met another real estate agent. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, that's not what happens. A lot of them are like, oh, that's interesting. Or some of them are like, oh boy, I hope they're not going to start talking to me about real estate. But when you start telling interesting stories, how you were the savior and you protected your clients and you advocate for them, because that sounds exactly who you are, Andrew.
Yes.
Now you build a bigger niche. Now you get to um, really help more people move up. And then you just perfect this model. And then I would tell you to backfill your system. Once this gets going really well, I tell you to open a rental division to start getting renters. Like find another agent who just does rentals, because that's going to give you a pool of your division to get your first-time buyers in. And your first-time buyers are going to be the pool that's going to lead to the move-up buyers coming up. So you just build the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds perfect. That's the
Yeah.
way to stack him and knock him down, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
So, all right, was that worthwhile? Did you get some ideas?
Oh man, I appreciate it, Glenn, so much. I definitely got some ideas, especially creating little stories that I can share with people. Short stories that will pique their interest and lead to more questions and more conversation. So, and it's all about relationship building, right? So it's perfect. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Andrew. Thanks for being our guest on our podcast here. Okay. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks a million for joining me today.
Thank you, Glenn. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.